Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا هب لنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا سمعنا مناديا ينادي للإيمان أن آمنوا بربكم فآمنا. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen. Welcome everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We have been studying the story of the Prophet Yusuf in the Quran, and we are studying mainly the story of the Yusuf in the section of the Yusuf of the Quran. So we studied up to the verse 40. Now Yusuf is in prison, and he was famous for his virtues, for his righteousness, for his upright standing. So he was definitely doing his mission there, prophetic mission, spreading the message of God, and people developed a trust in him. Because of his righteousness, they thought he was the right person to ask to interpret their dream. Although it wasn't a speciality, but a prophetic speciality of the Prophet Yusuf, but of course, since the people trusted him in this sense as well, so God enabled him to interpret the dreams. But his mission, main prophetic mission, was, of course, after spreading the message that he receives, but every prophet has a kind of speciality in, of course, gifted by God, given by God, but in particular aspect of human life. But Prophet Yusuf's speciality was interpreting the reality of the things, events, what the events really refer to. If you like, you can see that if something happens in this world, he is given wisdom and knowledge about the reality of this event. So he acted accordingly. So these people have this also reality of event. Maybe dream is one of the events. And he interpreted them. He said, okay, I can interpret it, but be patient. I will be very brief. Don't worry about your worldly benefits. For example, right now you are waiting for your dinner, and I will tell you something just before dinner arrives, so you are not going to lose anything. We discussed on this matter kind of in detail. We said while we are conveying the message, we should never interfere into people's interest, especially worldly interest, because these people are not aware of the reality. Therefore, if they are not aware of the reality, it means they are still worldly oriented people. So if you just really prevent their interest from the worldly affairs, they will, because they wouldn't appreciate your message. They don't know what your message is, and they don't know what the content of your message is. So they are not educated in this sense. So we have to respect their worldly life, and no matter what, if we are going to present the message. So this is a general lesson we get from the example of the prophet. And also we try to understand the message, the story of Yusuf, as Yusuf is representing human conscience. So human conscience requires that we have to really deal people according to their capacity at the level of their understanding, and also according to their central interest, where the center of interest is. So we have to approach them. That is why one of the wisdom, there are many other wisdom in the prophetic missions, of course. Every generation or every people somehow is developed in one sense. For example, nowadays, not the literature is really at the highest level in the society, but technology. Nowadays, for example, if a prophet would come at this age, I am assuming that this prophet will be giving lots of miracles and making technological gadgets miraculously, of course, because it is not their reality. It shouldn't be their speciality. For example, I'm imagining, this is just really imagination. So there is no limit for the imaginations. A prophet comes, he is illiterate or not educated in technology at all, not necessarily illiterate. Nowadays, almost nobody really in the civil war, world, everybody knows how to read and write, but no education in technology. In one day, he comes up with an amazing technology that no one can do that time. That is his miracle. Such thing, for example, the Quran's miracle was, if you like, in material sense, Quran's miracle was in its literature quality. It is rhetoric is so powerful. Its language is so powerful. Its examples are so powerful and amazing. Still amazing. It was challenging the world of this area where it was revealed to, because when the Quran was revealed, the poetry was very famous, widespread, and the poems, so the poets were the intellectuals of that area. So if anybody had any problems, anything, they were the philosophers of this society, or the knowledgeable people, if you like, if you want to speak nowadays language, they were the philosophers, they were the scientists of their society that time. Of course, in terms of today's life conditions. So I'm expecting that the prophetic miracles are in a challenging way. For example, the Moses example, very famous. Moses example was about his staff. The staff was challenging all the magicians, and the miraculously it acted in a really miraculous way to swallow others. Of course, in the eyes of the unbelievers, his staff was another tool of magic in the eyes of the unbelievers. But it was challenging that no one could do it, and he wasn't a magician. No way, by profession, didn't know anything. Anyways, that's it. So he started first giving the message, not conveying the message to the man in a very simple way, at the level of their understanding. Very simple. What we understand from here, if somebody is interested in something without disturbing, being an obstacle on the way of the people's benefit, what we have to do, we have to make every opportunity without being boring or really being imposing the idea on them, but take even the smallest amount of time to convey the message very simply without really burdening them with a lot of responsibilities. Just simple. Let's see what the verse 40 says. All that you worship instead of God is nothing but empty names, which you and your forefathers have invented. Names for which God has sent down no authority. Al-Asma. سميتموها أنتم إلا أسماء سميتموها أنتم وآباؤكم ما أنزل الله بها من sultan. God never sent down any authority for them. All these names, we will study that. It's very important. It's an important concept of the Quran. It is not only mentioned here, it is mentioned in other parts of, in Najm, I think, 53rd section of the Quran. Najm, I think it's there, yeah. So almost the same structure. It is presented in that verse as well, in the verse Najm, in the section Najm, the same structure. Inil hukmu illa lillah. Definitely the authority, the judgment, but hukum means at the same time really authority as well. Judgment belongs to God alone. He has ordered that you worship none but him. Now we will study this. This is a very important verse. This is the true faith, though most people do not realize. Now, what does names mean? First of all, we have to understand that in the Quranic language, the term name is, if you like, a term or a concept gained a new meaning in the context of the Quran. When we say my name is Ali, we don't mean the quality, do we? When you say somebody is called, let's say Jennifer, that Jennifer is an artist. Look, the quality is not in Jennifer, but in artist. You get it? So, that's what we understand. The name has no quality. But in the Quranic usage of this concept, because the Quran takes the word and, if you like, it loads on it in its own context, gives a name and uses it in such a way that you understand it has no meaning as it is commonly used. So names of God has a specific content, it is a specific concept for the Quran, and the content of the meaning of this word is almost nothing to do with what generally this word is used, name. That is why Muslim scholarship used the word sifat. Sifa, plural sifat. Why? Because they were speaking to people, addressing the ordinary people. If they use the word which is used in the Quran as names, asma or isim is the singular, they would take it within the meaning of their own daily usage. But sifat is not completely foreign or alien to the Quran. Subhanallah amma yasifun is same word, gives sifat, this attribute, as an adjective to God. They say that is God's attribute. They understand sifat. When you say God's name, we know God's name. What is it in Arabic? Allah, in English, God. That's his name. So it wouldn't really convey the message. It was wise of the scholars to use another word, which is Quranic, but concept-wise was not Quranic. But name is concept-wise is Quranic, but usage-wise in the common language, not Quranic. So they preferred sifat because they were speaking to common people. We have to be careful about this. It is a very wise way of scholarship. For example, speaking in English and saying Allah soothes the feelings of the already believing Muslims who are familiar with the word God, but speaking in English, addressing to English-speaking people, although among ourselves, still we have to get used to using this language, God, because when we are speaking to other people, we shouldn't sound alien. But the Quran changed the meaning of Allah as it was commonly known among the pagans of Arabs, or Arab pagans, or among the general Christian or Jewish society. Yes, they changed the name, they changed the concept, but it needed education. When you speak in English to people, they are not educated in Islam. When you say Allah, they say, they don't believe in God. They believe something different. That's why there's certain heinous people with, politically oriented, evil attitude. They said, Muslims believe in moon God. That is called Allah. people say, there must be something different from Allah. Correct. Why moon god? And usually their symbol is crescent as well. And also, everybody knows that they are praying according to the moon movements. Of course, Jews also follow the lunar calendar in many cases. So they don't say that. So they don't believe, the Jews don't believe in moon god, but the Muslims, because their aim is with Islam. Why? Judaism is not a challenge to Christianity, because Christianity has already included in it the Torah tradition. So to a certain extent, it is in their history. Whereas Islam is a very, for them, threatening challenge because of the belief in absoluteness, unity, uniqueness, the sole existent, self-existent being, God. No comparison, no confusion, no manifestations, reincarnation, etc., etc., etc. So he reincarnated God in the form of a man and presented himself, but in fact he is the God the Father. But in what we see, another aspect of the Quran, God as Jesus, manifested form, adopted Son, lots of the interpretation, endless interpretation there going on. Doesn't matter, but they are having trouble to convince people. So they said, okay, belief is not based off reasoning. Why? Because they cannot convince the reason, human reason, innocent human reason, unconditioned, unbiased human reason with this Trinity idea in any form, any way of interpreting. It's impossible for a human being to be rationally accept this idea. That's why they say belief is nothing to do with reasoning. What is it then? It is a matter of faith, which is becoming, we have to watch out, very common among Muslim community as well. Belief is in your heart is a very commonly spread. Yes, that is not right. That is not wrong to say that the belief in settles down in heart. But there's a difference. In order to believe, to settle down in the heart, mind primarily, first of all, must be satisfied. If somebody's mind is not satisfied, it means intellectually satisfied, rationally satisfied. The heart cannot be satisfied, but you can convince and cheat yourself by using an imitative attitude and claim that, yeah, it must be something like that. I don't know. But since it is our religion, let's accept it, because the alternative is denying God. Oh, man, it is impossible. But Islam comes up, the Quran comes up with a really reasonable, acceptable understanding of God. That's why they have to look for every occasion to belittle, diminish the value of Islam in the eyes of the people, using many things. These people are terrorists, these people really don't respect women, they are male chauvinist nations, or especially their prophet, so-called, so the prophet of the sword, their God is, look at the Quran, angry God, always threatening people. If they happen to read the Quran, translation of the Quran, I mean, even in Arabic, native Arabic speaker reads the Quran without really knowing the Quranic concepts, he won't be different from a person who reads the Quran from English translation. We have to know that. So knowing the Ammi Arabic or even Fusha Arabic, not with the Quranic Arabic, it means Quranic concepts, terminology, the same. It is as foreign as Russian or Chinese or English, Turkish, whatever the language you translate into. So that's why they have to give explanations. But that is another subject that we are not interested in now. We are interested in what names mean. What does name mean in the Quran? This is our question now. The Quran says, you worship instead of God. It means, in a simple language that we prefer to use in our class, you assume anything else within the universe as to be the source of existence. That is what it is. تعبدون من دون الله, or in this verse من دونه, which is really من دون الله. So not God, apart from the creator of the universe, if you attach any quality of creatorship to anything within the universe, whatever the way you present it, it is just if you like, names, but Quranic meaning is quality you attach to it is nothing but has no authority. But the Quran says in a strange way, he says, God has not sent down any authority on this name you put it. For example, nowadays, let's be updated. And let's have an updated understanding of the word names. This century, the previous century until the mid-20th century, really, the dominant culture, understanding was primarily oriented on philosophy. Now, as it became very clear, it was under the influence of the scientific claims or the scientists' interpretations at the beginning of the 20th century. Earlier, of course, they were just the preliminary elements of it, but later on it became very effective. Of course, if you go back to 400 years ago, you understand that science is the only challenging factor against religion. But of course, this conflict happened between science and religion in European context or Christian context to a certain extent, not in Judaism, but in Jewish people's minds. This conflict started really, how do you say, popping up in the minds from time to time, hesitant. But beginning of 19th century, there was a really shift from the philosophers' effect in the society, and then scientists' interpretation started overtaking the influence of the philosophers. Scientists themselves replacing the philosophers, religious figures, if you like, in the European context, in the Western Christian context, scientists became popes, bishops, I don't know, the ministers, or in terms of Quranic or Islamic literature, imams, scholars, religious scholars of the society. Now, 21st century, No one is challenging the authority of scientists. No one dare challenge the authority of scientists. But they gain their power from their scientific research, which must be admitted that they have the power there in making scientific research, generally speaking, not 100%, but majority of them. That is scientific research. It means making research and coming out with the correct explanation of how the world is working. It means how the order of the world is operating. Then explanation means discovering. But the scientists picked up the position of the priest or pope or imam, if you like, in different context, religious tradition or Buddhist monks, or how are they called? Buddhist. Okay, somebody may help me. Come on, it didn't come to my mind. Buddhist leaders. Not the monks are not general leaders, but in their okay, their imam. No one knows. Okay, my language doesn't come. No, didn't come. Okay, if someone makes it so that we can understand, everywhere, it is everywhere. Now they took over the authority in where, depending their success and being the pioneers, the forerunners of scientific research, and people are benefiting from the results of the scientific research in terms of technology, admiring the technology, and because of this admiration of the technology, seeing that the technology works, they understood that the scientists are doing something right. We have to understand how this process is going on in the minds of the people. That's why they trust in scientists' interpretation. Now, what happened? There was a big shift from success in technology. Therefore, the correctness of the scientific findings was hijacked by atheistic understanding of the scientists, some scientists, not all scientists. So they said, this is the result of scientific studies we are doing. What are you talking about? We have the authority. We have to in the position to speak. What do you know? So I investigated the universe. I found out that this thing has the power to develop by itself. Look, this is an interpretation. It is by itself or what? For example, the power of heat in the sunlight or in fire. The quality of heat, not the quality, heat. Power, or choosing what is best for it. It means will, the quality of will. Now, in the language of the Quran, this quality becomes what? Name. Name. It is why the scholars really prefer to use the attribute, sifat, because when you say name, still it is difficult for our mind to get this Quranic concept. So we can still use, instead of name, to make the case clear, this quality attributed to matter, having wisdom, having purpose, having free will, having the power to give existence to itself and to its own qualities, and it is all happening through its nature, which is intrinsic in it. It is an instinct in the nature of the matter itself. This is interpretation. These are the qualities. Now, the Quran says the names you invented, and you have taken it, inherited it from your previous scientists, but atheistic scientists. Now, why they are successful? Because they are misusing or hijacking the success in scientific research and transferring it into their pointless, meaningless, and not being reality, false interpretation of what is going on in the world. Although what they measure, what they see, how the universe is working is correct, but their interpretation of how it is working has no authority. But that's very strange that the Quran says God has sent down no authority on their invented names, qualities they attribute to matter itself. What does it mean? The Quran says, I am the word of God. Who is the God? Who is this God? The creator of the universe. So the creator of everything. So the source of existence of everything. Now we have to understand what's going on really. So as the one who says, I am the creator of everything, has not given any authority to these names, the qualities you attribute to matter. What does it mean? In the existence of the matter itself, there is no wisdom, there is no knowledge, there is no power, there is no will, there is no purpose, there is no way to really communicate with the rest, but they are acting as they are created. Nothing more. No authority has been given to them by God, which means no authority, it means proof, evidence. You can show, demonstrate that the matter itself has free will. How do we know? Look, no matter, no material being in the universe can act independently. They have to follow the universal order of the universe. Can they be the source of existence of the order that they are functioning, or they are given existence within this order? They're employed to do something. They have no independent existence. They have no quality to create themselves. They cannot be the source of order, but they are subject to the order. So who is the source of order of the universe? Who gives existence to matter, including the order that the matter is employed within. A simple example, anything in the world. Take this laptop or phone, cell phone you are using. Any part of it, how small, how big, doesn't matter. Any part of this machine has any free will, anything? Or even the program of the computer. Can the program of the computer have a free will to choose? Or it can be made organized, designed in such a way that it will randomly choose something. If the programmer, the processor, had not given the organization of this creature, this program, by the programmer, of course, the program cannot choose as it wants. First of all, cannot exist by itself. It must be written down, program, and it must function as it is designed, programmed by the programmer. So we don't see any free will. For example, human beings seem to have free will because the Creator has given me the free will. Not I developed my free will. Any program who's doing random choice and self-correction process, because it is given by the this authority, this quality is given by the programmer, not the program itself or the parts of the machine is doing all these functions according to how it is designed and made by its engineer. So this name, the name in the Quran, is an extremely important concept. And it is used here rightly. But unfortunately, our minds cannot really understand from the name to have the meaning, quality. That is the problem. We have to refresh our minds and adapt ourselves to the Quranic concepts. It needs a little bit attention and education as well. Somehow we have to train ourselves. We have to get used to, and we have to develop some sort of knowledge and familiarity with the Quranic vocabulary. That is an unfortunate case that we may study everything, but we may just we may just have superficial understanding of the Quran. That is the general trend among the followers of the Quran. Very superficial, very simplistic, very weak, if not at all. We read the Quran just as a book of prayer, blessing, which is correct. And depends on the level of the certain people that they cannot really go beyond that. That is their way. This is their life. But none of us here, nobody here can say that I cannot really try to understand the meaning and educate myself in. No, you can educate. You are all at least university graduates, if not further, higher education. You can all do that. You cannot pretend as if you are a really ignorant, uneducated person. So we have to study the Quran, get used to the real meaning of the real meaning is this, the meaning of the words within the concept of the Quran in general. So it needs training. Unfortunately, even some people study Arabic and the Quranic Arabic. But Quranic concepts need special education. That's what is missing in the followers of the Quran's understanding of Quran. It is a disaster, actually, to me. It's very, very bad situation. That's why Quran is becoming more and more alien, as the Quran says, mahjur, sent to migration somewhere else. The Quran says, and through the language of the prophet, it says, look, the prophet is complaining, oh my God, my people have sent the Quran away in a foreign place. It means another place. and sent them in migration, sent the Quran to migration, mahjur, made it mahjur. I feel that it has been through at least 1,000 years of Muslim history. Slowly, 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 the Quran was chased away from the interest area of the people. But some people study fiqh, yeah, but the fiqh is only 3% of the Quran. That's why studying hadith is so widespread. If you go to a masjid, people go there, and if you speak to a scholar, always, for example, in the masjid, 99% of the general public study hadith because iman matters, belief matters, really needs reasoning, and most of them are not there, and some people, some intellectual people also lazy to study that because they are busy with their professions, their money-making lifestyle. It is horrible. But unfortunately, it is the case. Unfortunately, we learn to memorize the Quran, which is, and in fiqh terms, it's just sunnah. It means if you do it, it's better. Because you become familiar with the vocabulary only itself. I mean, not the grammar, honestly, but the words. You are familiar. If you hear the name Esma, you will say, it is in the Quran. What does it mean? I don't know. This is not really getting familiar with the Quran. The essential responsibility of the followers of the Quran, everybody, but especially those who are familiar with the Quran, knows and claims that they appreciate the value of the Quran, they should really take the fundamental teachings of the Quran, which is establishing the belief matters, belief side of every action, belief side of every understanding, every knowledge. For example, we know that we have to believe in the hereafter, okay? We have to believe, but how to believe? Why to believe? Oh, forget about it. So that's what the Quran says. We learned from the Quran. Sami'na wa ata'na. We heard and we obeyed. That is just imitation. That's what we keep repeating the words, but we don't know what they mean. So we keep saying every day, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bismillah ar-Rahman. What does it mean? What does it mean? Bi-ismi Allah. What does it mean? The name Allah. Don't be ridiculous. Ism means the quality manifested in whatever you are considering. For example, doing an action, this action can only come into existence with creatorship, knowledge, wisdom, planning, etc. Qualities of God. That's action. And whatever you do must be as a result of Bismillah, but God's qualities manifested there primarily, whatever you do. For example, drinking water, the creation of water, wisdom in the existence of water, and all this connection between the climate and atmospheric pressure and wind, everything arranged perfectly so that the drop of rain came down. This is the collection of the drops. Every drop is measured perfectly according to the need of the people. All these measurements, the wisdom, mercy, whatever you see, that qualities. Don't say, it is said by God. What does it mean? By Allah even. What does it mean? Where are the qualities? What? Qualities? I'm saying in the name of Allah. I used Allah. I didn't say God. So I'm more religious and very more loyal to the Quranic terminology than you are. Look at how simplistic the mind's understandings of the general public. It is really a pitiful situation. It hurts me a lot. We are losing. We are losing. That's why I am afraid. May God protect it from us. The Quran will go and migrate away from us at the end, not this century even, but the next century. The future is not hopeful from my perspective. There's no sign to be hopeful. Why should I cheat myself? I can't. The scenery, the reality is very clear out there. Even we study the Quran for fact of matters. It means actions, deeds. We give emphasis on deeds. We don't say, okay, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, the brother or sister is praying. That's enough, alhamdulillah. But praying for what? Is he aware of what he's doing? No. Are you going to teach him what he doesn't want? It doesn't want, why should I bother about his praying or not praying? I mean, you know, keeping the demography or the population of the Quran as 1.2, no, 1.4, even, no, 1.5 billion. No, not 1.2. It's not enough. What are you going to do with the number? What are you going to do with the number? So there are something number of people who claim themselves nowadays either atheist or agnostic. What are you going to do with it? What is the number? Quality. So God, the creator, says, I have not sent down. It means simply, I have not given any authority to the quality you attribute to matter itself. Prove it. Unfortunately, no one dares challenge this authority of the scientists because of the fact that they are successful in research how the universe works, but their interpretation of how the universe works is completely false. No authority, whatever they say. Human instinct is such that we want to, produce our children. It's got pro something. Reproduction. Why? How the matter reproduces itself. But life, what is life? According to you, what is life? How can the matter be the source of existence of life, which is life, which has no relationship with matter? It is a completely different subject, like human body and his spirit, his emotions, his feelings. My feelings has nothing to do with matter. I have hope, I have fear. Why? Yeah, these feelings have nothing to do with matter. But of course, the quality of spirit functions through a body. That's why it uses it, like the program functions through the body of laptop. So we can understand. But it doesn't mean that program is a kind of or of the nature of matter like the machine laptop is, or machine side of laptop is the matter. But it has nothing to do with it. It's a completely different concept. The Quran makes this difference in its language. Pay attention to it. It is useful. It is brilliant. Quran uses khalaqa, fatara, bada'a, and lots of qualities, meaning khalaqa. giving existence anew at a special type, etc., etc. Different variations of the colors of the act of creation. But on the other hand, Quran uses the word amr. So amr is not act of creation itself, but as if puts the law, principle of existence, and turns into material appearance. This turning into material appearance is khalaqa, but the order that it should be in this way is amr. So, by the way, it is not our subject, but it's amazing to pay attention. I'm not going to go into detail. The time is always almost coming to the end. So the transfer from amr to khalq is in the created form of word, is symbolized in the Quran as angels receiving the amr and executing it in the. This is what angel functions there as created to make this transformation. Like broadcasting is there, and TV, let's say, or the computer science or your phone is there. The machine functions to transfer this magnetic wave of broadcasting, or really this, whatever it is, I don't know the technical word, and show it itself on the screen. Angel is functioning. This is created. How the amr is transferred into khalq. That is in other amazing concepts of the Quran. Amr. So when God created, let's come to the conclusion in order to wrap up our subject today. Verse 40 is amazing. I mean, we have to know very detailed of this verse. So when God created Adam's, in the scenario, if you like, transferred or presented to us in the Quran, God made the Adam's body out of mat, is matter, right? Of course, coming into matter form is, again, amr transferred into khalq. Yep. Or in some verses, the Quran says, ja'ala, transformed it into bashar. It means corporal body, if you like, or material body. It is said a kind of mud or dirt or clay, or doesn't matter the different words. Maybe it has its own significance in the context that it is used, but we have to have the general concept of first matter and then breathe into spirit. What is spirit? قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي. But you understand now? Now we have the amr. And as a human being right now, I am the product of khalq. Oh, there is something in chat, just a minute. But okay. Dalai Lama. No, Farah. Thank you very much. But it is what the title of Dalai Lama is called Guru, or not Guru, man. Come on. Sages of the Hindu and Buddha tradition. Doesn't matter. Thank you very much. I thought it was a comment. Yeah, it was good. Try. Thank you very much. An example of what I meant is Dalai Lama. Yeah. By the way, he doesn't believe in God. It is interesting. Anyways, none of our business, but he says he doesn't believe in religion. No. But he said, but I'm not passing a judgment on it. So we understood now what the scientists are doing, claiming their success in science and giving the way or preparing the way for technology to develop on their investigations, and people admire the technology and they see that. Pay attention to this point, please. Technology is working, so the scientists know what they are doing. Therefore, what they say, how they interpret, how the things are happening is or must be correct. Look at the shift. I don't blame ordinary people because they cannot make the distinction, this trick, transferring the success in scientific research into power of interpretation, how the things are happening. Now, the formulas are different. No, because the matter adapts itself. What? Adaptation. Matter looks for the perfection in their life. What? These are the claims cannot be proven, demonstrated that the matter has will. Matter has power to give existence to itself. Matter has no power to communicate with the rest. They are making up some stories that the electrons, one part of electron, the other part of electron may be indifferent, far away from each other, but they affect each other. That is how the creation is beautiful. But they cannot do it as a result of their power, their knowledge, their wisdom, their free will, and their independent choice. Impossible. So, judgment belongs to God alone. So, to explain how the universe is working, how it should work, how the things must come into existence, can only be directed, decided, operated, administered by the creator of the universe. Nobody else. Nothing else. That is what the Quran says and challenges. It has been challenging for centuries. No one can prove that the matter can be the source of its own, the qualities demonstrated on it. Like me, no one can prove that my matter is the source of existence of me. My matter is the one who really directs my existence according to how it chooses and how I am now. I can cut off my limbs, I mean, God forbid, but still I am as I am. But I don't change. Now, he has ordered that you worship none but him. It means really, okay, yes. Illallah, okay. أمر لا تعبدوا إلا إياه. It means worship him. What does it mean? Worship him or pray or fasting. No. In this context, it is different. I mean, they are included in another context, definitely, and absolutely they are right, but they should be practiced. But here in this context, إلا تعبدوا إلا إياه, that you shouldn't really worship at all, but him. It means, worship means attribute the quality of godhood or divinity or creatorship to the creator of the universe only. And if you want to present your thankfulness, your gratitude, if you want to say something about it, you have to say, this is how the creator of the universe employed this method, this atom, this molecule, whatever it is, this particle, here to function in this position as it is now. And this act of the source of act of the creation, everything belongs to the creator of the whole universe as it is in its entirety. So worship means only regard the source of existence to be the creator of the universe, but nothing else. And that is your respect, that's your feelings, must be connected to him rather than to matter. For example, the simple example, daily example, I eat the food rather than thanking the food, but the provider of the food. I mean, in this order of the universe, the one who gave me the food. But in the existential side of it, the one who created the food. That's what Quran says. You have to thank God, but also you have to thank. After thanking God, acknowledging that the creator of the food is God, and in the example of very good example of relationship with the parents, you have to thank God. Whatever you are given, even the compassion of your mother, you have to thank God first, and then your mother and your father, it was your parents, and then your father. But never forget, your final return will be to God, not to your parents, to God. God will make you be together with your parents. Not you or the parents have any power that can realize this, but the creator of the universe can. So always we have to acknowledge that the creator of the food, creator of the clothes, creator of the shelter, creator of atmosphere, my organs, my qualities, my feelings, God, and the one who gave me the shelter, thank you. You are employed to transfer it to me, and you fulfilled. You didn't prevent. You obeyed this employment, didn't reject your reality, and you gave me a shelter. For example, somebody gave me a place to live. Yeah, but first God and realize that, and then the person who helped me, then realize that at the end, anyway, we are all together. We all together are going to go back, return to God. How? He will take us back. As He created us, He will take us back from this type of creation and give another type of creation. That's up to Him. It's beautiful. This is the true faith. Nope. Yeah. It means definitely well established, standing upright, qayyum, which is true. Yeah, it's not wrong, but qayyum is qiyam is when you stand up in the prayer, for example, it's called qiyam. It means qayyum, the one who really keeps the uprightness, always standing true on the right position. Now, this is the only right position for you. ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلم. Not that the people cannot know, but unfortunately, they are not using their capacity to know, to realize this truth. God forbid from us. God protect us from being one of them. But this is the message, Yusuf, how fundamental it is. Delivered to his inmates in prison friends. Do you see this? Very simple to understand, but to go into the detail may not be very simple. But On the surface, they can understand that apart from the creator of the universe who is called God, we cannot really appreciate inequality belonging to themselves. They may not understand this. We shouldn't worship them, whatever it is, in their concept. But of course, through this teaching of the Prophet Yusuf, presented to the prison, his prison friends, God is teaching me now. So what conscience, my conscience, essentially teaches me this problem of name. Everything is going on about the quality that is attributed to anything to this universe apart from God is the source of the mistake, or really ignorance comes from there. And today's scientists are the most ignorant people, atheist scientists, materialist scientists. They propagate the scientific materialist understanding of the interpretation of scientific findings. They are the most ignorant people of the world, and also dangerous, poisonous people of the world, because they exploit their success in one subject and impose themselves in another subject. So they are the most ignorant, and they are the most evil people of the world. We have to watch out. We have to understand. We have to stand firm, qayyum, and we have to not really say, oh, but if you say that, they will say you are against science. We say, no. I'm not saying the universe is not perfect. I'm not saying the order of the universe doesn't have the quality to give the human beings the opportunity to make this machine, which is really useful for human beings, the machines and airports, cars, etc., all the technological gadgets, although it is economically and socially, peoples are exploited through it, and they are enslaved for the sake of getting more and more higher and newer technology. That is an, how do you say, economical, satanic plan, exploiting people from their mind, from their heart, also from their labor. Every 6 months, introducing a new technology, and even they found something that they can do better, but they don't release it until they really sell out the stocks of the previous technology, make the highest profit so that the people will buy. In fact, maybe as far as the production cost is $50, they signed it $5,000. Ruthless exploitation going on from all aspects. This is the most devilish civilization up to now. There may be more and more. People are enslaved in many ways. Their minds are enslaved. Their labor is enslaved. Their feelings enslaved. Their life is enslaved. In order to have a decent worldly life, people have to do two jobs a day. Why? Everything is so expensive. But, if you put one grain in the earth, Allah gives the 700 grain, 700 times. How can you be hungry in this world? All the people's gardens are full of trees without any fruit. Why? And non-fruit trees. Why? Because who's going to take care of fruits? They go and buy, why also? Go and buy one apple for $1. I don't plant apple tree in my garden. It grows, but I don't. Why? Oh, I have to collect it. But you don't collect it, but you pay $1 for an apple. And you can extend this now as an example. And you find yourself that you have to work at least 8 hours a day. And it's not enough. Your husband, your wife has to work as well. Your children, after certain age, they have to contribute to the family budget. Why? We are under the mortgage debts, etc., etc., etc. Lots of insurances and mortgages there, mortgages there. And everywhere we are made dependent. This is another trick, which is not our subject as far as this beautiful purpose of the verse we studied, section Yusuf, verse 40. Of course, inshallah, we will concentrate more and more about the meaning of names. I have to stop now. It's too late. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. Before I stop recording, any final comment, concern, etc., question, whatever? See? All right. Inshallah, next week we will continue. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Fi amanillah. I'm very pleased to see you here and next week as well.